Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Soulful Self-Development Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Sutherland, and today I am here to share an episode with you all about the energy of Pisces. I'm a few days late on this episode because Pisces season actually started a week ago. However, ironically, I was very deep in an astrology course, and I am excited to announce that I am officially a certified astrologer. And soon I will be offering chart readings and such. I am just practicing on some friends and family to gain a little more confidence and fluidity in reading other people's charts than my own. So I am really excited about that. But without further ado, we're going to dive into all things Pisces energy. This is the last of the 12 zodiac signs and the end of my little zodiac series I have been doing all year. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this, because starting in the next zodiac year, next month, I can go through all the all the signs again, just in a different way. I can look at it from another aspect. I can go through them in different houses, or something to give you a deeper insight about the energies in a different way. I would be down to do that. I love astrology. I could talk about it all day long. But let's dive in. So Pisces season takes place from February 19th to March 20th, which happens when the sun is in the constellation of Pisces in the sky. Pisces is the oldest water sign, and this energy is very intuitive, dreamy, emotional, sensitive, magical, mysterious, and imaginative. Pisces is ruled by the planet Neptune, and the planet Neptune is the planet of transcendence, oneness, spirituality, and unification. So this is something interesting to me. It's also, Pisces' energy is also very similar to the energy of the 12th house in astrology, and this house represents mystical, spiritual, creative, inspired creativity, spiritual practices, oneness, drug use, and drifting of the mind. So I find this to be really, really interesting and fascinating, because in our world, there is such a disconnect from this energy, and most people don't have a strong sense of connection, spirituality, oneness. We are very disconnected from the truth of that everything is all connected. We are all connected. We end up dependent on things outside of us to fill this void, because we are so disconnected from that truth, from that part of ourselves, from our spirituality and the oneness, the connection, the community that we are so missing, especially in, Western society. I know there are places in the world that don't have the lack of that we do here. But this is the interesting part, is that this is very deeply connected to addiction, drug use, and alcohol dependency, because when we rely on things outside of us to fill that void, when it's actually like an internal thing that you have to do and find and discover for yourself, we lean towards addiction, addictive substances, and substances that numb that feeling of like loneliness and detachment and feeling like you're not a part of it all. And so I fully believe this is one of the main reasons why we have such a drug reliance problem in our world, in our society, because there are so many people who are disconnected and they feel that void, even if it's at a subconscious level, which the 12th house is subconscious. It's not necessarily something you are very aware of. You're not like, I don't feel connected, so I'm going to get drunk this weekend. However, that is what's happening, even if we don't see it very clearly. So I just find that really, really, really interesting. So if you have a lot of strong Pisces placements in your chart, if you have a lot of planets in Pisces, if you have a lot of planets in the 12th house, this may be something that you struggle with. This may be something that you have to work really hard on in this life, of creating a proper and deep and connective spiritual experience for yourself, so that you don't feel the need to become dependent on drugs and alcohol to fill that void. Because the energy of Pisces is so deeply, deeply emotional, and it's mysterious, and it's like the unknown, and it's dreamy, and it's like the fish. Pisces is represented by a fish, and it's essentially like the fish swimming through the unconscious. So it's just like so flowy, and they feel things on such a deeply, deeply, deeply emotional level that these feelings, if you're not taught to deal with emotions and how to properly process them, they are so deep and can be very heavy and overwhelming. And again, if you don't know any different, how do you know how to properly deal with them so that you don't end up trying to fill this void with something else, and or numbing yourself from feeling these deep, intense emotions? So people with strong Pisces placements, be careful of addiction, because that is something that happens very common. But more about the Pisces energy. That was kind of a side tangent that went a little longer than I expected. However, okay, so Pisces is a water sign. It is represented by the color aquamarine. The symbol, again, is a fish. It is a feminine energy. Its mode is mutable, so it is changeable. And the phrase is, I believe. The opposite sign to Pisces is Virgo, and yes, it is. Pisces appears to be always chasing a new dream or desire. They live in their own world, and you never really know what's going on in their life, which creates a curiosity about them to others. Pisces are afraid of conflict, so their energy changes and adapts to their surroundings. They have a natural way of charming people into their fantasy, pulling them into their version of reality. Pisces is represented by two fish swimming in different directions, which is symbolic of Pisces being caught between fantasy and reality. They are very dreamy, but they can very easily get lost in their fantasies. And Pisces is the most psychic, intuitive, imaginative, empathetic, and compassionate of all the signs. I believe this is because they can feel emotions on such a deep, deep, deep level. And they not only are feeling their emotions on this deep, deep level, they're feeling the emotions of others on this level as well. And that can be very overwhelming. That can be a lot for them to deal with. So with all of these intense emotional energies, it can be very easy for them to be lost in it all. They have to have very strong grounding practices to help them balance and feel grounded into the physical reality that they're in, versus always being up in their imagination and getting very swept away in different emotions. So the power of Pisces energy is empathetic, psychic, selfless, creative, and gentle. And the shadow side is they may lack boundaries, overly emotional, they can be negative, fearful, and victimized as well. So I love Pisces. I love Pisces so much. I'm actually a little bit jealous because I have not a single Pisces anything in my chart. No planets in Pisces. Obviously, I have Pisces energy because everybody does have all 12 of them within their energy, but I have no strong Pisces energy, and I have such an admiration for Pisces. I think it's that they're so spiritually gifted, even if they don't know it. They really are. They are so in tune with energy and emotions, and they're so empathetic, and they would be just tremendous energy readers because they can just feel everything so intensely. And I believe this, like, if you're a Pisces and you struggle with being overly emotional, it would be very, very beneficial for you to develop some sort of practice so that you get really good at determining, like, this is my emotion that I'm feeling, or this is an emotion that I picked up on somebody else, because they're so gifted that they are reading the energy of everyone else around them, whether they know it or not. And it can be a lot easier to like put that down and not hold on to that really deep, intense energy that's not even yours. So, I mean, this is for anyone who is gifted. Not only Pisces are gifted, but Pisces energy is that very special connection to emotion and intuition. So I would highly recommend that if you have strong Pisces in your chart. I have more than 2 Pisces in my life, but one of my good friends, Cassidy, shout out to Cassidy, I love you, is a Pisces. And when I first met her, I wasn't even really deep into astrology. However, I just looked at her and I was like, this girl's a Pisces. I don't know what it is about Pisces. Like, you just look at them and they are such a dream. And they have such beautiful eyes. I feel like when you look into the eyes of somebody with strong Pisces energy, you're like, I would listen to anything you tell me, because your eyes hold so much, like, wisdom. It's like they know the answers to the universe. Like, I would trust my life with a Pisces to tell me, like, you know, information about the universe. And there's also a little girl that I teach, and she is just one of the sweetest souls I've ever met in my life. And the same thing is, like, as soon as I met her and I saw her eyes, I was like, this girl's a Pisces. And I was right, she is a Pisces. And she is just the sweetest soul and so creative and so empathetic and just, I just love Pisces so much. Sometimes I love my chart and I have an appreciation for my chart, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I've been really studying it on such a deep level in this course I just did. And I have such a deeper understanding of my energy and who I am. But I do wish I had extra Pisces in there because I just love it. Anyway, continuing on, we're going to talk about if your sun is in Pisces. So your sun is in Pisces if you were born between February 19th and March 20th. If your birthday is just happened or right around the corner, happy birthday to you, Pisces. Happy Pisces season. When your sun is in a sign, this represents your conscious personality, your ego, and I really like to think of it as what people find to be the most bright and exciting about who you are. It is illuminated within you, and others see that very clearly. And so if your sun is in Pisces, you are dreamy, intuitive, deeply emotional, wise, magical, and spiritually connected. So if your moon is in Pisces, which you have to know when you were born, where, when, and what time, because the moon moves into a new sign every 2.5 days, so it will be back in Pisces every 28 days. So you have to look at your chart to know if your moon is in Pisces. But if your moon is in Pisces, your moon represents your emotions, your unconscious, your drives, it's your inner world, and this is how you feel deep inside. And it can be so deep that it's unconscious. Sometimes we're conscious of parts of this, but it has to do with our triggers and desires and all these things that are also even under the surface. And this is a part of yourself that you might not actually share with everyone. It might be only the people that are closest to you that actually see and understand this part of you. So if you do have a moon in Pisces, you are so very deeply emotional. You feel everything from everyone, not just yourself, from everyone. So if you're walking into the room and you're just feeling all kinds of different energies from the people that are around you, chances are you may have a moon in Pisces or really strong Pisces energy somewhere in your chart. You are very spiritually gifted. You have a strong intuition and you are wise beyond your years. A very truly old soul. I see Pisces moons as the oldest of the souls probably may come. So if you have your rising sign in Pisces, which again, you'll have to look at your chart and know the exact time that you're born, because the rising sign, we go through every 12 signs within a day for your rising sign. So you could have any rising sign being born on any day. This is why it's important to know the exact time that you're born. And your rising sign is actually maybe one of the most important of the big three, because it's actually the truest, most pure version of you. It is your core. It is your fullest expression. And if you are not in alignment with your authentic self, you may be out of touch with your rising sign. But if you know your rising sign and can be in tune with that energy, it actually gives you a superpower. So if your rising sign is in Pisces, then you are transcendent, dreamy, magical, and you give off such a wise and magnetic energy to others. You are deeply connected and affected by emotions and have such strong intuitive and spiritual gifts. So maybe you don't understand truly how gifted you are if you're not tapped into this energy of your rising sign yet. But once you honor that part of who you are and you really dive into that energy and embody that energy, you just become so magnetic, so powerful, and it truly is such a superpower that we have. And even just awareness creates that first big step. So look into your rising sign if you don't already know what it is. And if it's Pisces, I think you're pretty lucky. So I'm going to talk about how the energy of Pisces might affect us when our sun and our moon moves into the energy of Pisces within the atmosphere. So right now our sun is in Pisces and it stays there until March 20th. So again, because we all have Pisces in a different place in our chart, we all might have different planets in Pisces. If you look at your chart, you can tell on a deeper level where this energy affects you. But I don't have any planets in Pisces. My Pisces energy is in my 6th house for the most part. However, that doesn't, I've learned, have as big as an effect as I thought it did before. I still think it's interesting to look at that, however. So I don't have, when the sun is in Pisces, for me, this is what I notice the most about the energy is I have the most crazy vivid dreams in Pisces season. Actually, I always look forward to this time of year because I love dreams, and I usually do have pretty vivid dreams as it is. But every night, I swear, when I'm sleeping in Pisces season, it's like my dreams are so realistic. They're so vivid that it actually feels like I'm in them. Like sometimes you have a dream and you almost know you're dreaming because you're like, wow, that is so out there. That would never happen. And when it's Pisces season, for me, they're almost like true. They're so realistic. And I don't know. I just find that so interesting. Anyway, it also gives me the energy to want to dive into my dreams. Like I think about and this really just came to me over the last couple days. And I was like, oh, right, it is Pisces season. I just sat down and was like, what do I want? What is my dream? Okay, if there was no limitations in the world, if I could have literally anything I desire, which you can, that's kind of the trick, what would I want? And so I've been really, really, really thinking about it because it's like, what do I want? Sometimes I get stuck in this. I have 1,000,000 ideas all the time. I have a lot of Gemini energy, a lot of air. And what do I literally want? What do I actually want? So sit in this energy because it is intuitive, it is imaginative. Use that to help you see the dream that you actually want to call into your reality. And it also gives me inspiration as a time to want to refresh and reevaluate my spiritual practices for myself. So, spiritual practices are always growing and evolving as you grow and evolve as a person. That's one of the things that I love most about spirituality, is because it's not a strict set of rules that you have to follow. It's not you have to do things a certain way. And for me, my practice is always evolving and changing. I don't like doing the same thing every single day. So I just like to, be like, okay, you know what? I really enjoy when I wake up and sit with my own energy in the morning. I really enjoy when I go outside and spend time in nature. That's important to me. That for me is like going to church. That is I just become so, connected, so full of gratitude for this beautiful planet, and the energy of nature is just so calming and grounding and peaceful. And so it's like, look, that's important to me. Well, then there's things I'm like, well, is this really something that I feel I need to do every day. No, okay. You know, journaling for me used to be religiously every single day I journal. Now I've evolved to, you know what, I love journaling and I really do use it for a tool. It's powerful for setting intention for certain specific things or whatever. However, I don't journal every single day anymore. And I'll check back in, like, do I feel called to journal right now? No, I'm okay. Or like, I had a really hard day, I had a really tough conversation, whatever it is, I'm going to journal about it. I'm going to get it out so that I, you know, don't feel that sticking within me and go from there. So that's what I notice about when the sun is in Pisces. So look forward to that for the next, you know, like 20 days. So now when the moon is in Pisces, which happens every 28 days for 2.5 days, the new moon will be in Pisces, I believe, on March 4th. I believe it's March 4th. So on these days, when the moon is in Pisces, we're feeling this energy on a deep emotional level because, again, the moon rules our emotions. So we're going to be feeling probably very extra emotional, extra intuitive, and maybe a little more spiritually connected than maybe we're used to feeling. So if you're having a day and you're like, oh my gosh, I am so emotional, I feel like I could cry, I'm feeling all these emotions and it's really intense, and then you go and look up what sign the moon is in and it's in Pisces, you're like, oh, that just makes a lot of sense. But use this energy to your advantage, okay? There's always a shadow and a light side and a shadow side to every energy, a high expression versus a low expression. So if you let the low expression take over, then yes, maybe you're going to dread days that the moon's in Pisces because you feel so overly emotional. But I like to look at it as such a gift from God, because the high side expression of that is like being able to feel those emotions and be in that fluidive state so that you can allow the emotions to flow out of you, to let go and process them. So, you know, if you're somebody who doesn't do well with emotions, if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of water in their chart, so maybe you're not as good as letting your emotions flow as others, then use that energy that's in the atmosphere to help you with that versus letting it bottle up because you're feeling extra emotions that day. So when the moon is in Pisces, it is a good day to tap into your creativity and imagination. You may want to spend time alone to recharge because all the emotions are heightened. Being around others and their emotions are heightened and you're picking up on those emotions, it can be a lot. So if you can, you know, look at your calendar and pick that to be your day to spend some alone time, I recommend that. Do some dream work because, again, when the moon's in Pisces, you may also have vivid dreams. So when the sun and moon are in Pisces, watch out for your dreams. Look up their meanings. If you have very vivid dreams, especially on these days, it's so divinely connected. Look it up and see what it means. It might be giving you some very deep, intense messages through your dreams. It's a good day to go into deep meditation, tap into your psychic abilities, and listen to your intuition, okay? Listen to your gut, listen to your feelings. They're heightened on days like this, and it's beneficial if we just listen and honor what it is telling us. Some things that you might want to avoid is emotional manipulation from yourself and others, emotions taking over, okay? Don't drown in those emotional waters, okay? Learn to let it go, learn to let it flow past you. Do not numb our emotions either, because yes, when emotions are heightened and intense, we may want to numb them out instead of dealing with them and processing them and letting them go. But I promise you, numbing them isn't doing anything. They're still there, and you're gonna have to keep numbing them until you deal with them. So, you know, sometimes it's hard work, but once you do it, you move past it. And if you don't do the work, it's going to be there forever until you decide to do the work. Pretending to be perfect, pretending that everything is just perfect and okay. It's okay that it's not. It's okay that you're emotional. It's okay that you have these feelings. We all do. That's the thing. It's like we're all in this together. We're all being affected by these energies. You don't have to pretend that everything's okay and everything's all put together. Absolutely not. If you need to fall apart, do it. If you need to call a friend because you need a shoulder to cry on, or you need to rant to get some of this emotion off your chest, do it. No, you don't have to convince anyone that you're perfect, because nobody is. And if you're convincing people you're perfect, there's something you're really hiding there. And try not to take things too personally because, again, all of our emotions are heightened. So not only yours, but everyone around you. And when everyone's emotions are heightened, we're more likely to push each other's buttons. We're more likely to be affected by what other people say or do or how they react to things that we interact with in the day. So just keep in mind, it's like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling overwhelmed. I'm not going to let their, emotions overwhelm me even more. I'm just going to send them some love and be understanding that, oh, hey, they're probably going through something similar to me right now because the moon's in Pisces. We're all overly emotional. A full moon in Pisces, holy smokes. Okay, that happens in Virgo season. Pay attention to that full moon. See how many emotions you got boiling over the surface then. All right, that is everything on the beautiful, lovely, intuitive, mysterious, energy of Pisces. I love you all so, so much. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye.